The underestimated threat. The Kreldan Empire had ruled the Orion arm of the galaxy for over 3,000 years. Their vast armada of warships, advanced technology, and ruthless determination had subjugated hundreds of worlds across dozens of star systems. The Kreldans themselves were tall, with exoskeletons of deep purple, 6 limbs that could function as either arms or legs depending on need, and compound eyes that could see into spectrums humans could only dream of. They were warriors, conquerors, and they believed themselves invincible. High Commander Xerxes stood on the command deck of the Imperial dreadnought Sovereign Fist, his primary appendages folded behind his back as he stared at the holographic projection of a small blue planet. "This is the target?" he asked, his voice a deep rumble through his translator. "This insignificant world is what has the Council concerned." "Yes, High Commander," responded his Chief Intelligence Officer, Tekla. "The planet calls itself Earth. The inhabitants call themselves humans. They have only recently developed rudimentary space travel, but our long-range scans have detected unusual energy signatures. The Council believes they may be developing technology that could eventually pose a threat." Xerxes clicked his mandibles dismissively. "Preemptive strikes are wasteful. I see nothing here worth our attention." "There is more," Tekla continued, manipulating the hologram to show a series of energy readings. "Their technological advancement has accelerated dramatically in the past 50 Earth years. Our projections suggest they could reach Tier 2 capability within a single generation. The Council has deemed this unacceptable." Xerxes considered this information. Tier 2 civilizations were those capable of faster-than-light travel and energy weapons that could threaten Kreldan vessels. Still, he saw little cause for immediate concern. "Very well," he finally said. "We will dispatch a small flotilla to subjugate this Earth. 20 ships should be sufficient." "The Council has ordered 40, High Commander," Tekla said quietly. Xerxes' compound eyes flashed with surprise. 40 ships for a pre-FTL civilization. What a waste of resources. Nevertheless, he knew better than to question the Council's decision directly. "Prepare the invasion force. We depart in 3 cycles." Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Alina Reyes stood in the hangar of the Lunar Defense Base, staring up at her ship. The Defiance wasn't the largest vessel in Earth's small defense fleet. It was actually one of the smallest. But what it lacked in size, it made up for in innovation. "She's ready, Captain," said her chief engineer, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, stepping up beside her. "All systems are operational, and the adaptive shielding is at 100% capacity." Elena nodded, her eyes tracing the sleek lines of the Defiance. Unlike the bulky, utilitarian designs of most Earth ships, the Defiance was almost elegant, with a tapered hull and smooth flowing lines. "And the quantum displacement drive?" she asked. "Functional, but untested in combat conditions," Hiroshi replied. "In simulations, it's performing beyond expectations, but you know as well as I do that real space is different from a computer model." Elena smiled grimly. "Well, it looks like we'll get a chance to test it soon enough." Earth's deep space monitoring stations had detected the Kreldan fleet 3 days ago. The extraterrestrial ships had appeared at the edge of the solar system, their intentions clear from their weapon signatures and formation. Earth had known about the Kreldans for years, thanks to stealthy observation probes that had ventured beyond the solar system. They knew that the Kreldan Empire was vast, powerful, and utterly without mercy. Captain Reyes, a young lieutenant, came running into the hangar. "Command wants you in the briefing room immediately. The alien fleet has accelerated. They'll reach Earth orbit in less than 24 hours. Elena exchanged a glance with Hiroshi. "Sooner than expected. Let's go." In the briefing room, Admiral Williams stood before a group of ship captains and military leaders. The holographic display showed the approaching Kreldan fleet, 40 massive warships moving in perfect formation. "Ladies and gentlemen," the Admiral began, "we are facing an enemy with technology centuries beyond our own. Their ships outgun us, their shields are more powerful, and they have numbers on their side. But we have something they don't expect: innovation. He nodded to Alina, who stepped forward. The Defiance is equipped with two technologies the Kreldons have never encountered, she explained. The adaptive shielding system can analyze enemy weapons and adjust our defenses in real time to counter them. And the quantum displacement drive allows for micro-jumps within a battle space, essentially short-range teleportation. Murmurs ran through the assembled officers, but Alina continued, raising a hand. Both technologies are experimental. The Defiance is the only ship equipped with them, and they haven't been tested in actual combat. Which brings us to our strategy, Admiral Williams said. Earth's defense grid is at full power, but against 40 Kreldon warships, it won't hold for long. We need to divide their forces, create confusion, and buy time for our ground defenses to target their ships one by one. He looked directly at Alina. Captain Rice, the Defiance will be our spearhead. While our main fleet engages their forward ships, you will penetrate their formation and target their command vessel. If we can take out their leadership, it might create enough confusion for us to press our advantage. Alina nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. The Defiance won't let you down, sir. As the meeting dispersed, Alina was approached by Captain Chen of the EDS Intrepid, one of Earth's largest battleships. Quite a mission they'd given you, he said. One small ship against the heart of their fleet. Alina smiled thinly. They won't be expecting it. No, Chen agreed, but expectations won't matter much if their weapons cut through your experimental shields like paper. Then we'd better hope they don't, Alina replied firmly. The next 18 hours were a flurry of preparation. Around the world, civilians were moved to underground shelters. Military installations went to full alert, and Earth's meager fleet of 25 warships took up defensive positions in orbit. On the bridge of the Defiance, Alina watched her crew work with calm efficiency. They were the best of the best, hand-picked for their adaptability, creativity, and courage. All systems go, Captain, reported her first officer, Commander Jackson. Adaptive shielding at full power, quantum displacement drive ready for activation on your command. Alina nodded. Communications, patch me through to the fleet. When the channel opened, she spoke clearly and confidently. This is Captain Rise of the Defiance. We are about to face an enemy that believes us weak, primitive, and easy to conquer. They think one human ship is no threat to their mighty fleet. She paused, looking around at her determined crew. Let's prove them wrong. Defiance out. The Kreldon fleet appeared on the edge of Earth's orbital space, like a constellation of deadly stars. Their massive ships were angular and intimidating, bristling with weapons ports and surrounded by a faint shimmer of energy shields. From the command deck of the Sovereign Fist, High Commander Xerix viewed the human defenses with disdain. 25 ships, he said incredulously. They think to challenge us with 25 ships. Their technology is more advanced than our initial scan suggested, Tekla replied, studying her instruments. They appear to have rudimentary energy shields and plasma-based weapons. Still nothing that can penetrate our defenses, Xerix said dismissively. Begin the attack. Standard protocol. Disable their fleet, then target their planetary defense systems. The Kreldon ships moved forward in perfect formation, their forward weapons charging with pulses of crimson energy. The first salvo lashed out, striking Earth's defensive line with devastating force. Several human ships took direct hits, their shields flaring and failing under the assault. But they did not break. Earth's fleet returned fire, their plasma cannons sending brilliant blue streaks across the void. Most splashed harmlessly against the Kreldon shields, but a few found weak points, causing minor damage to the outer hull of several enemy ships. Xerix frowned. Their weapons are more effective than expected. Increase power to forward shields and continue the advance. As the two fleets engaged, a single human ship detached from the main defensive line. It was smaller than the others, with an unusual design that Xerix couldn't immediately categorize. High Commander, Tekla called out, one of their vessels is breaking formation. It appears to be on an intercept course. Jerex clicked in amusement. One ship. Perhaps they are sending an emissary to surrender. I don't think so, Tekla replied, her voice concerned. Its energy signature is unusual, unlike any of their other vessels. On the bridge of the Defiance, Elena watched as they accelerated toward the heart of the Krelden formation. Enemy targeting systems have locked onto us, Captain, reported her tactical officer, Lieutenant Rodriguez. Evasive pattern Delta, Elena ordered. Prepare for micro-jump on my mark. The Defiance weaved through space, its movements unpredictable and erratic. The first Krelden energy beams missed their target, slicing through empty space where the human ship had been moments before. Quantum displacement drive charged and ready, Captain, called out Hiroshi from the engineering station. Mark. Elena commanded. There was a momentary sensation of disorientation as the quantum displacement drive activated. In an instant, the Defiance vanished from its position and reappeared 2 kilometers away, directly behind one of the Krelden warships. Fire all weapons, Elena ordered. The Defiance's plasma cannons released their energy, striking the Krelden ship's engines at point-blank range. The shields there were weaker, designed to deflect debris rather than enemy fire, and the plasma cut through them like a hot knife through butter. The Krelden ship's engines flared and died, leaving it drifting in space. On the Sovereign Fist, chaos erupted. Impossible, Jerex roared. How did they teleport like that? The Viridian has lost engine power. I don't know, High Commander, Tekla replied, frantically working her console. The human ship's energy signature spiked just before it disappeared. Some kind of short-range jump technology we've never seen before. Divert ships to intercept and destroy that vessel, Jerex commanded. Now. But the Defiance was already on the move again, its quantum drive charging for another jump as it twisted and turned through space, evading the energy beams that lanced after it. Turning the tide. High Commander Jerex of the Krelden Empire was not accustomed to feeling surprise. In 300 years of military service, he had commanded countless invasions across the galaxy. He had crushed civilizations far more advanced than Earth. Yet now, as he watched the small human vessel dance through his formation with impossible speed and precision, he felt something unfamiliar, doubt. Target that ship with everything we have, he roared, his exoskeleton flushing a deep violet with rage. I want it destroyed. On the bridge of the Defiance, Captain Elena Reyes gripped her command chair as the ship shuddered under a glancing hit from a Krelden energy beam. Adaptive shielding holding at 82%, Captain, reported Lieutenant Rodriguez. The system is learning. It's already adjusting to their weapon frequencies. Good, Elena replied, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. Dr. Tanaka, status of the quantum drive. Recharging, Hiroshi called from his station. 40 seconds until we can jump again. Elena nodded. Helm, evasive pattern Epsilon. Keep us moving. Don't give them a clean shot. The Defiance twisted and spun through space, its conventional engines pushing to their limits as they avoided the concentrated fire from a dozen Krelden ships. The smaller human vessel was far more maneuverable than the massive alien warships, and Elena was using that advantage to full effect. Meanwhile, Earth's main fleet had engaged the forward section of the Krelden formation. Though outgunned, the human ships were fighting with desperate courage, their captains implementing unconventional tactics that the more rigid Krelden commanders struggled to counter. Quantum drive recharge, Hiroshi announced. All hands, brace for jump, Elena ordered, targeting the enemy flagship. The Defiance vanished again, reappearing just 3 kilometers from the Sovereign Fist. The massive Krelden dreadnought immediately opened fire, but the Defiance was already moving, its adaptive shields shimmering as they absorbed and diffused the energy. Their shields are adapting to our weapons, Tekla reported to Jerex, her voice tight with concern. Each hit becomes less effective. Impossible, Jerex growled. No shield technology can adapt that quickly. But the evidence was before his eyes as the Defiance continued to evade destruction, its shields glowing with absorbed energy. "High Commander," another officer called out, "we're receiving distress signals from the Resolute and the Dominion. The humans have penetrated their outer shields and disabled their primary weapon systems." Jarek's compound eyes narrowed. How could 25 primitive ships be causing this much damage to his fleet? On Earth, the planetary defense grid had fully activated. Massive energy cannons, hidden in mountain ranges and beneath the oceans, now targeted the Kreldan ships that had broken through to low orbit. Brilliant beams of concentrated plasma streaked upward, striking the invaders with unexpected force. "They have surface-to-space weapons," Tekla exclaimed. "Far more powerful than our intelligence suggested." Xerix chittered in frustration. The Defiance was still harassing his flagship, appearing and disappearing in flashes of quantum energy, striking with precision before retreating. 3 more Kreldan ships had been disabled, and the human fleet, though taking heavy casualties, continued to fight with remarkable effectiveness. "New contacts, High Commander," the sensor officer reported. Small craft launching from the planet's surface. Hundreds of fighter-sized vessels were rising from Earth, their designs varied but their purpose clear. They were last-ditch defenders, likely piloted by humans who knew the odds but chose to fight anyway. For the first time in the battle, Xerix felt a flicker of admiration. These humans were not cowering or surrendering as so many species did when faced with the might of the Kreldan Empire. They were fighting back with everything they had. "Status report," he demanded. 8 ships disabled, 3 with critical damage, Tekla replied grimly. "The human fleet has lost 7 vessels, but their defensive capabilities exceed our intelligence estimates by 300%. And that one ship, the one that can jump, it's systematically targeting our command and control systems." On the Defiance, Elena was formulating her most daring move yet. The adaptive shielding had fully analyzed the Kreldan weapons and was now operating at peak efficiency, deflecting their energy beams with minimal power loss. The quantum drive had proven more effective than anyone had hoped, allowing the ship to appear where the Kreldans least expected. "Dr. Tanaka," she called, "what would happen if we diverted all non-essential power to the adaptive shields and made a direct run at their flagship's bridge?" Hiroshi looked up from his console, his eyes widening. "The shields might hold, but it would be extremely risky. One fluctuation, but it could work." Elena pressed. The engineer hesitated, then nodded. "Theoretically, yes. If the adaptive algorithms have fully mapped their weapon frequencies, we could absorb enough energy to make it through." Elena turned to Commander Jackson. "What do you think, XO? Worth the risk?" Jackson considered for a moment, then smiled grimly. "They clearly don't know what to make of us. Let's keep them guessing. All hands, this is the captain," Elena announced shipwide. "We're going to make a direct run at the enemy flagship. Engineering, divert all non-essential power to the adaptive shields. Weapons, prepare to fire everything we have at their command center once we're in position." The Defiance turned, accelerating directly toward the Sovereign Fist. The Kreldan dreadnought immediately concentrated its fire, energy beams, lashing out in a continuous stream. The Defiance's shields glowed brilliantly as they absorbed the assault, the adaptive technology shifting and adjusting to each new frequency the Kreldans tried. The small human ship continued its approach, pushing through the barrage like a salmon swimming upstream. "They're coming straight at us," Tekla exclaimed. "Their shields should have failed by now." "Evasive maneuvers," Xerix ordered, but the massive flagship was slow to respond, its bulk making quick changes in direction impossible. The Defiance closed the distance rapidly, its shields flaring but holding. When they were just 1 kilometer from the Sovereign Fist, Elena gave the order. "Quantum jump, now." The Defiance vanished and reappeared directly above the Kreldan flagship's command center, so close that the crew could see individual details of the alien vessel's hull through the viewports. "Fire everything," Elena commanded. The Defiance unleashed its full arsenal: plasma beams, kinetic projectiles, and a newly developed weapon, quantum disruptors that the Defiance's scientists had designed specifically based on their analysis of Kreldon shield technology. The combined assault struck the Sovereign Fist's command center with devastating precision. The flagship's shields, calibrated for long-range combat, failed under the point-blank attack. Explosions rippled across its hull as the Defiance's weapons found their mark. On the Sovereign Fist's bridge, systems failed and alarms blared. Jerex was thrown from his command platform as the deck buckled beneath him. Critical damage to command systems. An officer shouted over the chaos. Shield generators failing, weapons offline. Jerex pulled himself up, green ichor leaking from a crack in his exoskeleton. Through the viewport, he could see the human ship hovering just outside, its weapons still trained on his vessel's most vulnerable points. A communication channel opened, and a human face appeared on the main screen. It was Captain Elena Reyes, her expression calm but determined. "This is Captain Reyes of the Earth Defense Ship Defiance," she said, her voice clear and confident. "Your flagship is disabled, and your fleet is taking heavy losses. I suggest you withdraw while you still can." Zarek stared at the human in disbelief. This primitive being, from a world the Kreldon Empire had dismissed as insignificant, was offering him mercy. "Why would you not destroy us when you have the chance?" he asked. "Because we're not like you," Elena replied simply. "We don't seek conquest. We only fight to defend our home. Leave now, and tell your empire that Earth is not a world to be taken lightly." Across the battlefield, the tide had turned. With their flagship crippled and their formation disrupted by the Defiance's unconventional tactics, the Kreldon fleet was in disarray. The human ships, despite their technological disadvantages, had used superior strategy and sheer determination to gain the upper hand. Jerex looked around his damaged bridge, at his injured crew, and at the tactical display showing the status of his once proud fleet. For the first time in his long career, he made the decision to retreat. "All ships," he commanded, "disengage and withdraw from the system." One by one, the remaining Kreldon vessels broke off their attacks and began moving away from Earth, their formation ragged and disorganized. The Sovereign Fist, unable to engage its main engines due to damage, was towed by two of its companion ships. As the alien fleet retreated, cheers erupted throughout Earth's defenses. On the Defiance, the crew celebrated their improbable victory, embracing each other with tears and laughter. The Lina, however, remained composed, watching the tactical display as the Kreldon ships disappeared into the darkness of space. "They'll be back," Commander Jackson said, stepping up beside her. "Yes," Elena agreed. "But next time, we'll be ready." She turned to address her crew. "Today, we showed them that humanity won't be conquered easily. One ship, our ship, changed their calculus. Imagine what we'll accomplish when all of Earth's ships have the same technology." Later, as the Defiance docked at the Lunar Defense Base, Admiral Williams was waiting to greet them. The older man's face was tired but triumphant as he shook Elena's hand. "Captain Reyes," he said, "you and your crew have accomplished the impossible. One ship against an alien armada, and you sent them running." Elena smiled. "It wasn't just us, sir. Every ship, every fighter, every defense installation played their part." "True," Williams acknowledged, "but the Defiance was the game changer. Your ship proved that superior technology isn't enough. Innovation, adaptability, and courage matter more." He looked past her, to where Earth hung in the black sky, beautiful and for now safe. The Kreldon Empire thought they knew what humanity was capable of. Today, they learned otherwise. As news of the victory spread across Earth, the name of the Defiance became a symbol of hope and pride. Humanity had faced its first extraterrestrial threat and emerged victorious not through overwhelming force, but through ingenuity and determination. In the vast chamber of the Kreldon Council, High Commander Jerex stood before his superiors, recounting the battle and his decision to withdraw. "This planet, Earth," one of the council elders said, "you believe it requires special attention." "I do," Xerxes replied firmly. "The humans possess technology we have not encountered before, and they adapt with remarkable speed. One of their ships, just one, was able to outmaneuver our entire fleet." "You suggest we leave them alone?" another elder asked incredulously. "No," Xerxes said. "I suggest we approach them differently, not as conquests, but as potential allies." The chamber fell silent at this unprecedented suggestion. The Kreldan Empire did not make allies, it made subjects. "These humans," Xerxes continued, "they fight with creativity and courage I have rarely seen. Imagine such qualities directed alongside our power, rather than against it." As the council debated, back on Earth, preparations were already underway. The technology that had made the Defiance so effective was being adapted for the entire fleet. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, inspired by what one ship had achieved. Captain Elena Reyes stood in the observation deck of the lunar base, looking out at her ship. The Defiance had taken damage in the battle, its hull scarred by Kreldan weapons, but it remained intact, a testament to human ingenuity and the courage of its crew. "They thought they needed an armada to conquer us," she said softly to herself. "But they never understood what makes humanity special. It's not our weapons or our technology, it's our spirit. And that's something no empire can ever crush." As she watched, the first stars became visible in Earth's night sky. Somewhere out there, the Kreldan Empire was reconsidering its approach to humanity, and all because one ship, one crew, had refused to accept defeat. The Defiance had lived up to its name, and in doing so, had changed the course of human history forever.